Hello and welcome to the DB Magazine quick look of the Yamaha MOX6, which is a synthesizer, workstation and sequencer. A lot of the technology here you'll already know, you've already seen it in the MOX8 series. However, this has much more of an emphasis on portability and notably affordability as well. So over the course of the video we'll take a look at what the differences are, what it's capable of and who would buy this. Okay, before we have a close look at the features, one thing particularly notable is that this thing is very, very light indeed. It's 7 kilograms, so you can pick it up. And of course that means that you can pop it into a keyboard bag and take it to a gig. Now a lot of you love the Motif range of course, but will never have been able to gig it too easily because of the weight. So now it's a much easier way of getting down and playing live either on your own or with a band and having all the power of and all the voices of the Motif inside a much more compact package. So one thing particularly important is that the operating system inside the MOX6 is brand new. A lot of you will remember on the Motif series that sometimes the load times could be quite slow. Never too bad, but always a little bit of a hindrance. However, now if I power on the unit right away, then within a couple of seconds, everything's ready to go. That also extends to firing up the various voices, so rather than having to spend a bit of time in choosing what you want, you've got here's a tone here, and I can immediately switch to any other sounds I want, and there's no delay in loading them up at all. So everything feels much faster and much easier to access at the the touch of a button. So one of the things here is that, as you can see from the control panel, everything is very, very easy to see what you're doing, very, very quick to hand. So at the moment I'm on the full concert grand. There it is. It's a lovely sound. There's a huge number of sounds here, 1,217 in total, and every single one of those is also present on the Motif XF. Exactly the same sort of sampling rates, exactly the same high quality. Now it's an intelligent system, so if I hit the split button, then because I'm using a concert grand piano, it takes a guess for me that what I'd love to be using right now is a bass on the split. Now of course I can change that through the categories, I can cycle through and I can have anything backing anything else. But it's nice that, especially if you're putting something together quickly or just having a bit of a demo or a noodle around, then you can hit split and the MOX6 will figure out what perhaps will go best with what you're trying to do. So the same ease applies to layering as well. So here I can pick an organ sound, there it is, and I want to layer that up with something a bit clever. I'll do some strings with some arpeggiation. So I just hit my layer button, easy as that, and now it's asking me what I want, so it's already on strings, and then I'll cycle through to an arpeggiated sound. There we go. So now when I hit everything at once, you should get the organ sound and the arpeggiated pizzicato strings. So really nice and easy. Very, very quick to do, and again I can cycle through arpeggiation, I can cycle through a synth version of strings, pizzicato and ensemble. So each category has its own subcategory of the type of layer that you're adding to it. As well as the voices, there's also the performances of course. Now you'll know these are the loops which you can either vamp over, record with. They're highly editable as well, so I'm going to fire up the blues organ trio, and within that there's always various parameters, so I can look at the drum kit playing, I can look at the type of bass, I can look at the instruments involved within the loop and change them to my heart's content, change the levels, and in fact change the instruments completely if I like. So the whole thing is highly editable. You can of course make your own loops as well using the record function, which is a simple sort of process, once again very easy to tap straight into. So here is our blues organ trio, which I can manipulate of course with the keyboard. And there are a huge number of different performances, a huge number of categories, so just as easily I can fire up the rock and roll, I can fire up the electronica, the R&B, as I see fit. So within rock, for instance, here's one. Again, you might not want to use the presets, you might prefer to use them to use your own created ideas, but actually for quick putting together of tracks and demos, and for playing in just about any sort of band, there are lots of things here which could be immediately usable. Okay, so those are the very, very basics of the MOX6, but you at least have an idea of now of what to expect. If you'd like to look at a more in-depth review, which has me going through a lot more of the functionality with the computer, as well as parameter editing, and the custom software as well, which comes with it, then you can click on the link directly underneath the video and go to DV Mag for a much broader look. However, for me, this is a product that I think will appeal to those who have loved the power of the Motif XF and Motif series in the past, but have never been able to take it with them to a gig. There's also a bigger brother, the 88-key hammer action MOX8, which we don't have here, but we'll be looking at that in the review as well. So for more information on either of those, then click that link. Thanks very much.